There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
Side stories.
From your glade.
That's when the cannibalism started.
Side stories. Yes. Now it's time for my fucking... This is my brother from another mother. Right here, this guy. I'm excited. It's been a long time. I miss Shane. It's been too long. It's been too long since we've had him on the fucking show. I'm glad he's here. We're going to talk about all his new bullshit. I miss you seeing my nude body, spray painting me with my fucking dick out.
All right, that would be when you were filming Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Welcome to Side Stories, everyone. I am Ben, hanging out with Henry.
Yeah.
And as he mentioned, today's guest, he has worked extremely close with Henry's body.
Oh, yeah.
He knows all the nooks. He knows all the crannies. And I'm sure he has PTSD. He also recently just worked on this kick-ass movie, Sam and Maddie Make a Zombie Movie. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. Shane Morton is with us, and it's just so great to have him here.
Dude.
Great to be here.
We have a lot of stuff to cover.
A lot of stuff.
Because I want to start, first of all, I want to thank you for Cheddar Goblin. The world wants to thank you for Cheddar Goblin.
Of
What
course.
people may not know, can we even we can say this kind of shit, right? Because during... In Mandy, the Cheddar Goblin sequence was it directed by you or was it Casper?
It was Chris Kelly directed it.
Yes.
Sure.
So Casper Kelly directed the segment, but they just like let you run with Cheddar Goblin. How did that happen? Like, how did you get the script for that? And how did that go down that you got to be the father of Cheddar Goblin, the Geppetto?
You were actually there when it happened because we were shooting Pretty Face and Chris was like, what do you think about next weekend us doing this little horror puppet thing? You could make this puppet and it's going to throw up all over these kids. We could shoot it in the afternoon. And I was like, Chris, are you fucking crazy? Like, look at this workload I have. And Chris knows I work on the weekends when we're on Pretty Face.
Yeah. All your unbillable hours, you do it because you're a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, because we're trying to make stuff better with that limited budget or whatever. But he goes, but it's for Panos Cosmatos. And I was like, okay, well, then we're doing it,
Definitely.
Of course.
I love Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Why did he kick it to Casper versus he direct that sequence?
Because he wanted it to be like from another viewpoint, right?
Right.
Oh, wow.
He wanted it to be like Too Many Cooks. That's basically what did it.
Shit.
He was like, can you do something kind of like Too Many Cooks that's weird and shouldn't fit in the movie?
Right.
And he didn't tell us much about the movie, really. He just said, make this crazy thing.
And of course, Mandy was just such an unbelievable cinematic beauty. It was such a incredible movie. And then this scene really stands out. It pops because you're like, oh, wait. What is this whole new reality?
It's the hinge of the whole movie.
It's a crucial moment in the movie as well. When it comes to Cheddar Goblin, if you haven't seen the movie Mandy, you can find Cheddar Goblin, just search it. And that scene is, I'm sure it's on YouTube or something.
Yes.
But check it out. Where did you come up? You hear that you are asked to make a character that vomits a bunch of mac and cheese on a bunch of children. How do you start creating that character?
That's the guy right there, Shane.
Well, originally, I'm thinking it's macaroni and cheese, right? So when I'm thinking about creating something, especially for Panos, I'm thinking it's color, right?
Yeah.
So what's the opposite of macaroni and cheese? It's purple. So I came up with this purple stringy character that was like...
Why is purple the opposite of mac and cheese, if I may ask? Because I don't think I would have gotten that right.
Purple's the opposite of orange. When you look at a color wheel, you have to see what the complementary color is on the wheel, right? So purple was as far on the other side of the spectrum from orange as I could get. So I originally started that, and he was skinny and sharper and more angular. And immediately they were like, no, this is all like 80s Ghoulies, think of that Ghoulies vibe. And I was like, oh, okay. So then we'll just go for that, And I just put a bunch of veins and the kind of weird warty stuff, the weird kind of I don't know, it's this gloopy style I've got that's real 80s influence.
So cool.
Like, we used to call it like string cheese back in the day. Everything looks like bad pizza.
Yeah, it's so sweet though. The Cheddar Goblin looks, he sits in my living room, so I sit there and I see him each day.
Well, it's just like with my stuff, even if I'm making stuff that's like evil, it's got to be kind of cute.
Of course, and Cheddar Goblin,
kind of fun. Maybe not cute, but something fun about the stuff, my style.
How was it to spray the kids with the mac and cheese?
That was brutal because
kids didn't like it, huh?
Well, when I show up and the kids are there and I was like, hey, how much do you guys like macaroni and cheese? And they're like, we love macaroni and cheese. It's the best. We love it. We'll eat it any chance we get. And I was like, not after today. And about 7 hours in, I was like, so how do you guys feel now? What do you think about mac and cheese? And I was expecting to be like, fuck this shit. But they were like, nah, we love it. You give it to us right now. We'll eat it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
because it wasn't macaroni and cheese that they were getting hit with.
What were they getting hit with?
It was macaroni and cheese mixed with lemon or pineapple Faygo and mixed with like lemon Jello to get the consistency. So that citrus and that cheese kind of combined to make this smell that was like,
why did you
vomit?
Why did you settle
like pure vomit?
Why did you settle on the ICP Juggalo beverage?
This was a no budget, I needed.
That's amazing.
I made that I sculpted that thing in like 5 hours. And we put it in a mold on set. Kyle and Kevin are like, why the fuck are we doing this? There are 20 people that are in makeup and we've got this kid's coming in to get his feet cast. I don't know if you remember that. We had to get some child in there to do a cast of his feet.
Yes.
His feet got shrank. They're like, our workload is so big. Why are you doing this to us? And I was like, because you never know. Watch, this might be the biggest thing we do all year.
And then fucking watch it. It's immediately. You're like, holy shit.
Well, I forgot about it. And Chris calls me from Sundance and he goes, oh my God, you're not going to believe this movie we made. And I was like, what movie? And he's like, the one with the macaroni and cheese. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, it's crazy. He's like, just promise me you're sitting with me when you watch this movie because you're not going to believe that the Cheddar Goblin is the linchpin to the movie and it's one of the greatest horror moments in movie history.
Yes,
dude.
He's like, and Leonard Maltin's interviewing your puppet right now. And
that is
like,
incredible.
What the fuck are you talking about? And just looking at it at face value, it's just the cheesy 80s looking monster puppet. But in the context of that film, it's like the most horrible Lovecraftian level of cosmic horror that this guy is going through. And that is the symbol of how little you matter in the universe, right? Cheddar Goblin is an existential nightmare taken to the extreme, turned up to 13,
But then honestly, it made me identify with the Cheddar Goblin because I understand how hard it is to get commercial work.
And it's got a cute
when you
little
are a
belly.
specific work. Yeah, he's got a cute little. I have the same body as Cheddar Goblin.
I think you've gotten more work out of this than I have.
Yes, I did. That's true.
When you created the first Cheddar Goblin that was purple and kind of thin and different looking, and then you get the notes, how did you settle on green #1? And then also, like, when you get notes like that as someone who is unbelievably talented with what you do.
You're also hyper independent because the one thing about Shane too is that Silver Scream is one of this, like, it is a kind of a pillar of very, very independent special effects that used to be, because special effects, maybe I'm wrong, Shane, but it seems to be it was way more regional for a period of time where you had like the Pittsburgh scene, there was an LA group, but wherever there was a run and gun movies being made, there seemed to be at least one special effects kind of house, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And they're usually like part of a big house. You know what I mean? Like these are guys that would work with Stan Winston and Rick Baker, and then they would get some little project, like people like Gabe Bartalos, who I know from Basket Case and all those Henenlotter sleaze movies. He was like, working with Baker.
Right. So just maybe if someone wants to get into the arts out there in special effects, how did you internalize what the director wanted you to do? And then how did you translate that to this really kick-ass, strangely iconic Cheddar Goblin?
Well, I'm lucky in the fact that Panos, however, and Chris Kelly and like you guys, we are on this kind of thing where we can just say we have a huge like repertoire of stuff to pull from. So we can say things like, it's kind of like Ghoulies, right?
Sure.
But it's also got this like, he's got to be kind of lovable. So there's a bit of Yoda in Cheddar Goblin.
Right. Yeah, that definitely plays out as I look at it. Yeah.
The big ears make it cute. There's something about the big ears that make it's kind of like a bunny rabbit or like a cute dog. It reminds me of Wendy, or like, you know, it's like you look and you see the big ears and kind of, oh, you can trust this thing.
Yeah, because the silhouette is basically Yoda, you know.
Right.
Immediately he's kind of huggable until the lights come on, and then you're like, oh shit, this is not Yoda.
Oh no, it's a professional comedian.
Oh my God, the worst thing ever to see when the lights turn on. So is that usually your thought process? You take things from that have already created and you just find a new way to kind of combine them and just kind of rework the formula in some ways?
Well, yeah, because I'm not like, I guess I'm not so full of myself to believe that I'm really creating anything, you know, if that makes any sense. Like, I believe that creative people basically have an antenna that goes up that grabs out of the same ether that everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've got I'm so into like old classic movies and just the whole genre of fantasy filmmaking and everything, that I'd be crazy to think that I'm actually making anything up. You know, I'm pulling from this, I'm pulling from that. And, sorry if you guys hear something. We have a new kitten and he's going crazy.
Yeah, I hear the little scratching. Yeah, that's definitely not a person bound in your home.
But no, there's no like teenage girls in cages down here.
No, I know that. I don't hear them.
That's great. So, but that actually makes it a little bit less scary, knowing that it doesn't have to come out of nowhere. Because I think a lot of times
it's all reference points.
It's all reference points because a lot of people when they're starting doing arts.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing comes from nowhere. It's just like with music, you know, you think you've come up with a new song or a new way to play something, and then you realize, I think there's like 6 songs in the world. There's only 6 that you can like change around and play a different way, but it's still one of those 6 songs.
Yeah, you kind of like they're out there, the building blocks, but it's now up to artists. Like, your job is you have a series of references that come from either absorbing material or going to school or whatever, and then you use that going forward and mix and match to make the new shit. The new shit is just the reorganized old shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're good enough, then you can put your own twist on it in a way that people will not be able to see where it all comes from, and you've applied your personal, you know, fingerprints all so it sort of transcends what it is.
Oh yeah, like how Mandy is technically just you'd say like it's a revenge movie, right? So it is a normal revenge movie, but Panos's ability to artistically come at from another angle makes it something else. Like I went to go see Pig, the new Nick Cage movie. Have you seen this movie? It's John Wick. It's Nick Cage, basically. It's John Wick, but through the Portland fine dining scene. It is the most specific shit I have ever seen in a movie, where it is a missing truffle pig mixed with the obnoxious, like, people showing up with like it's fine dining. I don't know how to describe it. It's a non-violent John Wick.
I have to see this movie. I haven't seen Pig at all. I mean, put some truffles on the floor and the truffle pig will come.
I do want to ask about, so we were talking about before, Godzilla v. Kong, right? So the first movie, we were all like movie horny, obviously, for the quarantine. I had to go see a movie in the theater as soon as humanly fucking possible. The first one I saw was Godzilla versus Kong. Now,
I just watched that last night. It's something.
I popped my cherry on that one too. That was the first theater experience. We rented a theater and like a couple dozen of us went, and it was like
awesome.
It wasn't a great movie, but it was a lot of fun.
It was fun to be outside of my home, which if that's the bar, then any movie's great.
Yeah, I'm looking back at the row behind me at Jim Stacy, and we're like, wow, look at that.
We're fucking back, dude.
He's like, I can't believe it. Mechagodzilla's in this movie. You know,
it is pretty crazy. I also didn't know that was a reveal and accidentally spoiled it on the show, and people got mad at me.
Can we call it Megazilla? Mechazilla sounds better than Mecha Godzilla.
He's billed to be like, he's supposed to fight Godzilla.
I know. I just don't think we need the god in there. I think he can just be Mechazilla.
But you're like, Godzilla's like one of the cornerstones of your whole life, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like,
I'm weird about Godzilla. Like, I'm so weird about it. Like, I've gone to Tokyo for movie premieres and stuff.
Cool.
Now, you saw Shin Godzilla in Tokyo, right?
Yeah, we saw Shin Godzilla like in the 4D theater with people going crazy. Godzilla was everywhere. We had stayed at the Godzilla Hotel. Like, we're nuts about it.
So
really?
something like Godzilla v Kong, right? I understand. We're in 2021. People want the massive Avengers style. Entire city gets destroyed in an instant. Every single thing is computer generated. I do believe that like some of the digital fighting was really cool with Godzilla versus Kong, but it still misses some of the
tangible.
Obviously it misses the tangible. But Shane, how do you make a movie like that size with practical shit mixed with digital? Like what's the way to make it all work out? Like, what do you do to
what's
take
the balance there? Because I mean, the movie that I always reference that I thought did a good job was The Mist.
Yes.
Where it's like you could tangibly see certain creatures and stuff, and I love watching creatures. But yeah, watching Kong versus Godzilla, I could have gone for just one guy in a monkey suit once.
Seriously.
Yeah, well, the Japanese are still doing it. You know, all you got to do is go over there and look at the movies that they're still making stuff that has like classic tokusatsu effects. Now, they will say that this isn't true, but they did use a puppet and a full waist up 30-foot tall puppet also for Shin Godzilla. They added some special effects over the top of it with digital. But there are certain scenes in Shin Godzilla where they were using practical effects too. They built miniatures and they knocked them over and applied them to real buildings. Good. They knocked over some almost real size, real scale buildings.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? As far as that strategy of using tangible real puppets and then combining the CGI, do you think that it should start with the puppet and then the CGI is just the cherry on top and the icing on the cake? Because right now it seems like the CGI is the whole dish.
Yes, but some people like it. I don't know if you like it that much, computer graphics, because I don't.
You know what brought me out of it is how good video games are now.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Kong versus Godzilla and I'm like, why am I not just playing this game?
Yeah, seriously.
But what do you think,
now?
Shane?
That's the key word. Now you think it's good. Go back and watch Lord of the Rings or the first Iron Man, which I'll never forget that opening scene in Lord of the Rings. I was like, holy shit, this is the next thing.
Yeah.
I was like, all the air got sucked out of the room when all those thousands of hordes of orcs were trailing across. But go back and watch it now. And now it looks like a bad video game. Okay. And the problems with this technology is the technology itself. It's like it keeps evolving and it leaves the stuff in the past looking like bad video games. So now you're thinking, oh, it looks like Space Invaders versus, Red Dead Redemption, which is what you're getting out of Godzilla versus Kong or whatever. Like, we'll talk about this in 20 years, what we think about Godzilla versus Kong now that we've seen the new level of movies. And I can guarantee you that 20 years from now, people are still going to be watching Ray Harryhausen's Jason and the Argonauts.
Yes. And
they're not going to be watching Godzilla versus Kong.
And that's so ironic about Peter Jackson, obviously, who did the Lord of the Rings. I don't want to spread any information. No one knew about.
Quentin Tarantino? Well, that's the deepest cut.
I know. I really nailed it. But if you look at Dead Alive, Peter Jackson's one of his earlier movies, that movie is timeless.
It's timeless.
Because it's just, you can't. It doesn't. It can't look any different than that.
It also leaves them open to say, "I'm going to need some more money to update these films." And then what they'll do is each time we'll get a new repackaged, revamped, redone Lord of the Rings. Like 20 years from now, we'll get it with the newest technology where it sucks your dick. Like you go in the theater and the tube comes out.
Your dick.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Or we'll be watching it on cave drawings and sticks and stones.
Yeah.
That's what they say the World War IV will be fought with.
I can't wait.
Like
we'll have to have 3 before that.
Yeah.
Rain of Fire when they realize they're telling Star Wars.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Rise from your grave.
I don't want to get too more deep into old man yelling at a cloud about practical because I get into this.
I'm a
get into
practical guy. I like practical.
People start calling me a boomer. I'm Gen X, but I can.
The forgotten generation.
Yeah. I'm forgetting more and more every day.
That's perfect.
You're lucky.
That's the goal.
But okay, you bought a new house. And I'm not going to blow up your address and shit. Like, I don't want to dox you. But you are really investing in creating a full-on permanent haunt, right? Is that kind of the idea that this is going to be, or are you just living in this house? Is this just a house that will be a horror house?
Well, no, I showed you the house that we bought to live in.
Yes.
that's Madeline's thing. Like, she's been able to make it a nicer place because she lived in my weird house for 10 years.
For a long
So
time.
like,
She suffered.
No,
Madeline Brumby.
Nice. Yeah.
Madeline Brumby, who's an actress who's also in what was it?
Dear God, no.
Dear God, no. Frankenstein Created Bikers, and she's done a bunch of stuff with us.
But she wants the nicer stuff, you know. She's a blue blood. And so she, you know, but when COVID happened, you know, we lost our gigantic building out there where you guys have done tours and stuff. And we shot Goodhead out there, and we've done a million things out there. So I was like, well, what are we going to do with all this stuff? You know, because
you were working on a horror museum. You were working on a special effects museum in Atlanta.
And it was insane. I donated 2 30-foot box trucks crammed full of props to Six Flags, who I build theme parks stuff for. It took 4 months to figure out what I was keeping and how am I going to do this new building. So and the market is terrible right now. You can't buy a warehouse, especially in Atlanta, where there's more movies being made here than Hollywood. So there's nothing available.
Oh, yes.
So I'm having to build my own new studio, right?
Is that where you are right now?
No, I'm in the basement of the house we live in.
Oh.
The house that we bought to turn into a studio. This is the craziest story, right? Because we own probably the oldest house in Atlanta. And
it's going to be so much fucking dark history in that house.
No, actually, here's the fun part. Because we were going to make up a dark history. Because when we found the place, we were like 1840. There's nothing that old here. It all got burnt down in the Civil War. Well, there was a rumor that Sherman stayed the night there, and that's why it didn't get burned down.
Oh.
Well, we've had all these historians come out with their, you know, crazy research stuff, and they found officer Union buttons. And the story now is, because I got to say, when we were looking at the place, I was like, plantation style house. Are there a bunch of people buried here?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's really like a center of evil. Yeah.
No, this guy was a Union sympathizer, and General Slocum and his troops stayed on this property. And this is the story that we're getting now. So this guy was like he was fighting the good fight.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But now you have to make it evil because you're going to have people come. So you have to have some kind of experimenting happening there.
You know, we've got the Civil War nurse coming out of the wall, like grabbing your paintbrushes.
That's cool.
We've got all these bullshit stories we're going to start telling. But it's not going to be something that's really open to the public all the time, like the old place. It'll be something we can shoot in. You know, We're building a big thing behind it, but we're going to be able to say that, yeah, our studio's in the old, you know, a 200-year-old haunted building.
That's really freaking cool. I mean, I got to ask, how'd you even get started when it comes to now you're going to have your second location, Silver Scream is doing great, you're working your ass off. For people out there who want to get into the world of special effects, how do you even start this?
You just do it. You know,
so you just started creating in high school, or you just have always wanted to do it?
Yeah, I saw King Kong when I was 3 years old, and ever since then I've been like doing makeup on myself and on my friends and making little, you know, we started making little haunted houses out of refrigerator boxes in the garage, and now I just kept doing it, making movies. And you know,
what was it about King Kong and Godzilla that got you? Because as a kid, I mean, they're cool.
I love Godzilla, yeah.
But for me, I like to have like Freddy Krueger. It was like, he's funny and he kills people. But
we were the generation that, it was like Pinhead meant a lot to me as a little kid. Jason and Freddy meant a lot to me. I think that you had the Godzilla,
the monster era,
and King Kong.
The classic monsters are different in that they're not villains. The villains were the 80s, like slasher things, and those characters were murderers and rapists and child molesters and stuff. And the stuff
Freddy was not a child molester.
We got corrected by Elijah Wood.
He's a child killer.
He got retconned into a child molester, Freddy Krueger, because they did that in the new Jackie Earl Haley movie. But the original one, he only killed kids.
He just killed kids.
So,
and he was a janitor, so you tell me you cannot. He was a janitor.
I love Elijah Wood, but he's wrong about this.
Whoa! All right, well, you're going to have you and Elijah on. You're going to have to go head to head because I'm Team Woods on this one. He was a janitor. He got angry with the kids and he killed them.
Nah, there's too much sexuality and lecherousness in his performance. He's always like coming through the phone and licking their faces. He's wanting to diddle him with his fingers. He's making.
Well, now those are teenagers, to be fair.
I say, but teenagers are not. It's not legal for them to be diddled.
It's not good. Okay.
They were 16-year-old teenagers.
Not good. I'm not. Now you have me defending Freddy Krueger. So you did this, Shane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
So you like the hero of
maybe
Godzilla?
He's not raping him before he's murdering, but he's like doing some diddling. Freddy is a creepy kind of guy. Like
he is a creepy.
I'm not saying he's not creepy.
I like Freddy too, right? Like
doesn't seem like it.
The movies are fun. Like I saw it opening night and came out of there because I'm not a slasher film guy.
Yeah,
really.
I liked it because I was a teenager and there were boobs in it, and I liked seeing Tom Savini's gore effects. But the movies, like this is a guy. My favorite movies are like the first Metropolis. I watch silent films. I watch performances by Lon Chaney Sr. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I need something more cerebral.
That's funny. You're not a slasher guy. I would have just assumed, I guess.
It's the world. It's the world building of the older films, I think, that are very, very inspiring, especially to artists, because it really does. In Freddy, in those movies, in the 80s slasher films, it's way more kind of about momentum and the sexuality and stuff like that, where the monster movies of the earlier period are more atmospheric. It's more of a vibe.
Well, also, there's this. If you want to get down to like the foundation of these characters and why children adhere so strongly to like the Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman and the classic characters, it's because they are like kids. They move around. They don't have control over their bodies. They don't have control over their emotions. So kids like relate to these things, right? Because they're not in control of themselves too all the time. So I think that like there's something very basic about why children are attracted to the classic monsters.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to them in an eloquent way that they may not understand, like the sociological reasons why they're attracted to psychological.
Because some of the characters are also very silent too, right?
Right.
They're silent characters a lot of times, and they're you can kind of project onto them how you feel about them, and you can picture yourself kind of as the wandering person, especially like Frankenstein, like because they're very sympathetic characters,
and they're always getting yelled at.
Frankenstein's monster is also and this is a thing like Freddy Krueger. Is he a child molester? He's a child murderer. Frankenstein's monster, is he a child molester?
No, he's
read the book, and then you might change your mind.
He's like Michael Jackson. He was childlike of mind, and he didn't know the difference.
I always think about that.
He wouldn't just kill these children. He would destroy them in a way that would hurt the parents and the family. It's definitely alluded to that Frankenstein's monster is doing something more than just killing.
Well, I never really thought about him in a sexual way at all. I think Shane he has fan fiction. I think you're the problem, Shane.
No, read the book. You'd be surprised. They hide a lot of stuff in this old literature and these old classic films.
Bride of Frankenstein also, you were the first one that showed me that Bride of Frankenstein is a story about being gay as well, and about that is very, very interesting. What else I wanted to bring up during Godzilla v Kong? Well, the idea of that, like, just the idea of the Earth being hollow has become so mainstream. They throw it in the middle of this, like, essentially children's movie.
Yeah, we bitch about this. We've been bitching about this for like almost 10 years now, Henry, how everybody's stealing all our fun conspiracy theories and making them lame. Or making them where like we can't talk about them at 4:00 in the morning anymore.
Because like Q sucks, right? The whole Q storyline sucks. Yeah. There's nothing fun about that. Where's my David Icke? I miss him.
Oh, he's still on tour.
I missed him when he was fun, and now it's not fun to talk about anymore because now people think that we might really believe that.
David
it's not fun anymore.
What David Icke has to do is start infusing his soccer skills on the stage. I would watch him kick a ball in the air a few times.
If he just set up a net that had the ball that looked like a reptilian head,
kick it,
and he just kicked it into that would be huge.
I feel bad for David Icke because he really thought he was going to be Jesus, but then that time came and went, and then he just had to turn into David Icke that we know now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these guys are always on the precipice of it, and it could go either way, right?
Yeah.
They never seem to be able to handle the precipice well, though.
No.
So why, like with David Icke and with the mainstreaming of conspiracy theory and conspiracy thought, which I completely agree with you guys. The idiots have the conversation right now, and we got to take it back.
We have to take it back.
We'll take it back. But how does special effects, horror mirror these things that are happening in real time and in real life, as we're in the throes of the future, which we're understanding people weren't ready for the internet. We're understanding it might be have a massive, speaking of net negative on society. How does your job and how does your creative process, how do you reflect what you see happening in reality with special effects?
Yeah, dude, last weekend was on mushrooms, and like Cena dropped it on me. He's like, you know that we've only had the iPhone since 2007.
I know, dude.
Like, holy fucking
I would
shit.
stop all tech at 2006. That's what I would say. But anyway, that's just me.
Well, we can't do that, right?
No, we can't. We're done.
So me, and just like Henry was saying, I'm trying to stay pure by staying away from computers and stuff. I still have to use them. I use them to storyboard. I use them for production design and whatnot. But what it's going to do, it's going to make you have to work harder. You're going to have to work harder with these technologies to use them in a way that you're still, and they did this with Godzilla versus Kong, right? So people were bitching about it and saying, oh, a lot of the old school guys, oh, this sucks. And I was like, actually, I had a lot of fun with it because it reminded me of these cheesy movies that I love, like, At the Earth's Core and all those Doug McClure, Edgar Rice Burroughs movies that were lit like psychedelic Mario Bava stuff. And they had cave girls running around, submarines. That's what Godzilla versus Kong felt like to me. It felt like a Saturday afternoon in the late 70s where my parents would take me to this theater to watch this goofy movie.
Yeah.
And
it's just the digital. It's just
better because they didn't have Millie Bobby Brown in them.
Millie Bobby Brown was just not the. She just needs to take a break. But it's also
she can't even pop her head out of a hole.
I don't know.
Without it being, here I am.
No, I don't know. But it's $100 million version of those movies that used to cost like $50,000 a piece.
Yeah. So does it make it better? I mean, I think that I'm going to go back and watch At the Earth's Core a lot more than I would go back and revisit Godzilla versus Kong. Even though my nephews were tearing the living room up last weekend when I showed it to them, and they were like, the one kid looked at me like near the end of the movie when Mechagodzilla was fighting, and he looked at me and he goes, "This is the greatest movie ever made!"
Man, that actually makes me feel really good that a kid had that reaction to it.
Oh yeah, because
it was a very fun movie.
But there is a movement within horror movies to keep things practical. Nick Cage will one day be remembered as the Lon Chaney of this time period. I think that we're going to be upset when he's gone. I don't think film is going to understand what we were missing when he leaves.
I think Johnny Depp is going to get more than Cage.
Well, if he can get his shit together.
Cage is not as varied as like Depp, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think that he's going to, like, he's been doing some amazing things lately, but they're
he does a lot of schlock too.
He's got to pay them bills.
They all do, but I think Johnny Depp's probably the closest thing that we have, because he's got Edward Scissorhands, he's got Ed Wood, he's a
shapeshifter.
He really is a shapeshifter.
And he's worked makeup before, he's used that.
Speaking of the world's most incredible actors.
He's busy playing in his band, though, right now.
He is Hollywood Vampires.
Hollywood Vampires.
Rise from your grave.
But speaking of the world's greatest actors, you've now been working again with Matt Servito. He played Satan in Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. He's directing now, which at first, not that I was scared, only just because I've seen him drink so much scotch that I was like, I didn't know what he was going to be like. I didn't know what he'd be like as a director. But now he's really crushing it. And we made a short together called Good Head, where you got the YPF team all back together, which was wonderful. We made a horror short. But then you just got back filming in Albania for a month with Matt Servito at the helm. Oh, it was in Austria.
We were in Austria.
How was it? How was it being under Matt Servito as a director and also being in fucking Austria during this time period? I know that he told me that the crew drinks a lot of wine.
Oh no, it was insane, and we've spent a lot of time with Matt. We've been locked in on a production together where we're working hard, but living together for a month while working on a movie.
Hell yeah.
Then you're really seeing it, you're people are waking up and wondering why me and Matt are in our underwear at the dinner table drinking scotch at 5 a.m. and when we gotta wake.
We're on US time.
We're storyboarding. We changed the ending of the movie. Here's the new ending. No, I mean, it was incredible. Like, I brought Oliver. Oliver came over to play the monster, and it was good to have, somebody like with me all the time in that world to help out too, and to also see just how fucking great it was. Like, it was life affirming to be over there with all these like amazing people who were not like, a lot of them were not they were not like jaded movie people. Some of them, this was their first thing, and they came in because they're working with this big Hollywood star. So they had some preconceived notions that we had to, pull the curtain back and say, hey, no, you guys don't get it. We're independent movie makers like you guys.
What is the key difference between shooting in Atlanta versus shooting in Austria? Like, I mean, obviously there's got to be a lot of differences, but
7 different languages were being spoken on that set.
It's a Goblin too. It's like a Troll too.
It was bonkers. So I carried an iPad around because, I was storyboarding the movie, and they require a lot of pre-production over there.
Yeah,
I think. And so they weren't, and you've heard Matt say this before, just chill the fuck out. We're making jazz here.
Oh, yeah, I hate the term we're making jazz here. Was he saying we're making jazz here in Austria? That's not jazz. That's polka.
It's not really, but it was funny because the AD, after 3 days of this, the AD comes to me and the producer, and they take me aside and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? And I had talked to him about this the first day, because I was like, are you guys ready to have a crazy time? We're making a crazy movie. Things are gonna get crazy.
Because you guys made a horror Western. What Servito told me is you guys are making a horror Western. It's out in Austria because in Austria, I guess they were obsessed with the Old West, the American Old West. So they had
romanticized it to the point they built theme parks all over the East, all over.
Oh, that
Europe.
sounds fun. Did you go to any of those?
But no, it was an abandoned theme park. Yeah, that's what they were shooting in. They were living in it.
That's awesome.
All the buildings are real. Like, all the saloons and everything were hotels on top. So all the Romanians stayed in the saloons, and all the grips stayed in the Indian village and stuff. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was really awesome. But there was stuff where I was like, I think you guys are expecting a different thing than
what were they? I mean, what were their expectations?
They thought we were making a spaghetti Western, which we were, because we were shooting everything with giant cameras and anamorphic lenses, and it looks like a Sergio Leone Western.
Yeah.
But we were also making The Thing meets Alien in a Western town, right? So
sweet.
So they didn't understand it was a horror movie.
There's a shape-shifting skinwalker, right? And there's an Indian curse. So when I start telling these guys, Dutch the camera every time they're running up the stairs in this place, and the Romanian camera guy looks at me, he goes, that is not the movie that we're making. I was like, oh, yes, it is. We're making a fucking horror movie. You guys need to start looking at this thing as being more like Evil Dead than Sergio Leone. Because if we don't make the movie weird, because they're looking at the Indian girl dancing and this stuff, and they're like, where does this cut in? And I'm like, trust us. There is an Indian curse going on here, and we're going to interject these crazy visuals throughout, because if we don't make the movie weird from the start, when the fucking monster shows up in the third act, people are going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, what movie is happening?
Right. So how do you do that when you disagree with the genre? Like, when it comes to like a crew not knowing the genre of a film, that seems like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It seems like it would really make every single thing you do a colossal pain in the ass.
It kind of was, but it was also kind of neat, because then I got to explain it and explain the reasons why this was happening and why this shot looks this way.
Did they understand?
They did. And he would look at, like the guy that was challenging me a lot, he would look at me and goes, oh, I see. It's the psychology of the film.
Okay, there we go.
He's like, we are not because I told him, I said,
like, there's no coverage. We're not worried. Yeah, it's not about coverage.
Like, why is the camera on the floor? And I was like, because now it's a rape scene. And he goes, oh, I understand. Because now it's just about Master Vito's boots walking into this guy's boots that are torn up. And something bad's about to happen, but you don't need to see the knife.
Right.
You just know that. and it kind of looks like the beginning of a rape because there's two boots here spread and the other boots come in, and it's artsy, right? We thought a lot about this.
I'm sure you did. It reminds me a little bit of when they took Everybody Loves Raymond to Russia. It must be difficult when it comes to educating people on film,
especially
when you have 30 days to get the goddamn thing done. And you're also like, let me teach a master class really quick also.
Well, as the thing goes, and Henry knows this from working with Tim and those guys at Media Team, we would just look over and go, no, it's the shot from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when the light's coming under the door. And everybody goes, okay, yeah, that's it. We need a blue light over here. We need an orange light over here. And the camera's on the floor with the 100 on the lens. Like, we have this language of cinema and horror cinema and underground weird movies that they might not necessarily get. But because I can hang with anybody with samurai cinema, and maybe they knew more about French New Wave than me, but I could still go, no, this is that thing where the faces are, it's the Jean Cocteau shot where the faces are looking at each other and they're talking. And
yeah, so you got Cocteau. It's all these reference points that come from being a voracious consumer and studier of film. Like, it's film, and like it is watching it. And also what I like is what you talk about all the time, where it's while horror is obviously the most important thing to know, how to walk the walk and talk the talk about horror, it's the other shit. It's the other references that can really make films come together. Like, you can say, like, we're telling this story through the lens of a horror Western.
And then also, absolutely. Shane, how do you infuse the comedy? Because Mandy, Cheddar Goblin, I laughed out loud.
Yes,
of course,
absolutely.
But it's also grotesque. How, like, do you have a thought process as far as like do you ever intentionally try to infuse comedy, or is that just something that happens naturally with just the super bizarre structure of horror in general?
Well, that Cheddar Goblin stuff, that's on Chris Kelly. Like, he's the funny man. But like, for me, I think it just comes out in my artwork because, once again, my influences. I grew up on Sid and Marty Krofft and the Addams Family. So that stuff is in me. It's a part of me, and it's going to sneak out in these ways.
Did you have a chance to see Psycho Gorman by any chance?
Loved it.
I would love to hear
People were calling me going, thinking I did it because the production design was so gore meets.
I loved it.
It was so perfect. I have such like a soft spot for, because I say our style because of Pretty Face too. It was just like that goopy, kind of run and gun, very funny, but also like there is something weirdly precise about it. Like Psycho Gorman like kind of made that.
It nailed it.
Yeah, it did. And Psycho Gorman proves it doesn't need to be totally slick to get the point across. Sometimes, and this is like something I learned.
That was Dave Willis's point.
Yeah. You got it. Well, here's, and I learned it most eloquently from the great painter Basil Gogos, who you guys are probably familiar with because he painted all the crazy covers for the famous Monsters of Filmland magazines, where there's like hard light sources. And like, you've seen, he's done covers for Rob Zombie late in his life, and his art is very prevalent, and it inspired generations of artists, right? And Basil Gogos I told Gogos, I was like, the reason that you're gonna live on forever is because the gesture of your drawing is retained in your finished piece of your art. And he looked at me and he goes, the gesture is everything. So what I'm getting at is, if you overwork your piece so much and you lose the soul of the art, right? So who's a better sculptor, Rodin or Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo, right? Like, somebody does something really tight, or something that like a Frank Frazetta painting where you can tell he slashed at it while he painted it, and it's got this like really savage quality to it. You actually see where you see the sketch.
Yeah. Over the years of doing our show too, you really can see it. It really is about the thing that you sometimes hate about your own work is you actually seeing yourself in your work, and you want your work to look like somebody else's. Like, you want your work to look like, oh, I want it to be tight and clean. I want it to look like this thing. I want it to look like a highly produced project. I want it to look like this. But it's like, no, the thing sometimes that you maybe don't agree with your work, you look at it, maybe it feels green or whatever. That's you speaking. And that's actually the most essential part sometimes, is The you speaking, even though it's not maybe perfect and it's not something you don't recognize as perfect, but it is like, it makes it alive and it makes it something that only you made with your hands.
Yeah, Orson Welles said it. He said an artist without boundaries can't make good art. Yeah. So like, maybe that's part of my whole shtick too, is that I've never had like really big budgets to do stuff, and it keeps me grounded in this world where I have no choice but to retain the gesture of the idea.
Right. Well, it just seems like with that premise, which I love that, you can't get that in CGI.
No, of course not.
If you're creating a CGI character, I mean, maybe someone who's very good at creating something like that can be like, that's my personal touch.
But if it's janky, it bumps you out. It bumps you out of it if it's janky.
So when it comes to tangible special effects, that's why Psycho Gorman, it was laugh out loud. And then it was also like during the kills, it was like awesome. Like you get that incredible, satisfying feeling of like watching a snuff film that you know is fake.
Fear Street did good. That new Fear Street series on Netflix did really good with the practical kills.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that one. Madeline got angry with it and thought it was exploitative towards teenage sexuality and stuff.
It is strange.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I didn't think so, because they're making 80s slasher films, which were very exploitative towards teenage sexual feelings, right? Like sometimes the whole movie is based on that. Jason's just like penetrating everybody with his machete. It's just, that's what the thing's about. So I think that they really get it. I've been digging Fear
Shane,
Street.
if you could work on one of the major franchises, I know you don't love slasher, but let's just say you're getting hired.
Yeah, what's the big one?
Who do you want to work with? You want to work with Halloween, Nightmare?
Well, you
Friday.
did a set for Halloween too.
On Halloween too with Rob Zombie.
Oh, you did. How was that experience?
It was tough because it was Harvey Weinstein was there and caused a lot of trouble.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
He made it really rough on Rob, who was like, the whole reason I was there is because
he fucked with Rob Zombie too.
Oh, it was
what a bitch.
I'm not going to talk about this publicly, but it was brutal. Like I wanted to kick the fucking guy's ass. I didn't know who he was.
Wow,
but, Rob,
really?
Rob, of course, is like such a sweet. He's not like Rob Zombie. He's more like this, like sweet, like artist guy. That's like internalizes stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was rough seeing him go through it, and he was
just getting screamed at the whole time.
He was trying to make this love letter to Italian Euro trash movies, right? Italian Spanish, like Paul Naschy and stuff.
Sure,
and people that were on the show would look at me and go, what the fuck is this all about? And I was like, it's the feeling that he's going for. Like people were like, I'll never forget this. We're shooting the scene where the pumpkin headed guys are eating at this dinner table. And
it's sweet.
I love that.
I love Halloween.
I love both of Zombies remakes. I love it.
Well, I like Halloween too, especially because it's one of the only Halloween movies where something happens. There's like there's character arcs.
Yeah.
Like as much as I love the first Halloween movie, it's really just a glorified music video. I mean, one of the characters spends the whole movie peeking out of the bushes like something out of a Russ Meyer's Peekaboo movie. I don't even know what the first Halloween is, but I love it. But like, I think that Rob was trying to make an art film, and that's not what they were wanting to do.
Yeah, it seems like Rob in the industry, I'm totally talking on my ass here, but I know he wanted to make that hockey movie.
He did,
and version of slapstick. It just seems like whatever. I fucking hate the system so much.
It's very difficult to fucking navigate it through. Also, to keep your ego hold, so you have to go and. Oh God, it's dumb to have to try to make them happy and you happy at once, because then you're never happy.
Yeah.
So, well, I had this conversation with him after the movie wrapped, and I was just like, why are you even doing this? Like, why don't you just make your own thing and just get the money somehow and make your own thing, and then you don't have to deal with these fucking assholes. Because I was like, I don't want to work with these people again.
But he did it with 31 though. 31 was not.
Kind of dropped the ball a little bit.
Kind of dropped it.
Oh, I just can't even imagine the monster of Harvey Weinstein being on that set. I liked Lords of Salem.
Love Lords of Salem.
I think it's his best movie.
Yeah, I think Lords of Salem was fantastic.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Monsters. I think he's going to do good.
I think so
too. I think he's
too.
going to kill it.
I think
Can't
so
wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Oh, but
So,
Shane, do you
back
have
to
a
the
dream?
thing.
Yeah, dream franchise.
Okay.
Like, what would you pick?
Okay.
What would you pitch?
It's not really a franchise, and this is funny because this is Rob asked me too. Well, if you were going to do a remake, what would it be? Trick or Treat.
Oh, that's
But it would be okay. And now it's going out over your show. So now somebody's going to make it next week.
No. Make them make it for us.
They're going to have to. But imagine Trick or Treat, but Sammy Kerr is now not an 80s dude with big spray painted hair. Now he's a Norwegian death metal guy.
That's
and he's
great.
burning down the churches, and the teenagers are getting, you could create a whole new like horror guy with this corpse painted dude that's able to sneak through speakers and
That's actually a really interesting idea.
It's such a difficult thing. I'm just trying to rack my brain on like new-ish horror icons. Hatchet, I suppose, somewhat.
That's the closest one is Hatchet in terms of like a new character, like center of a franchise character.
Perhaps speaking of disgusting people in Hollywood, Jeepers Creepers, that monster kind of transcends a little bit.
Yeah, but now that's gone. Those movies should be fucking deleted from the registry.
Yeah, it's
the first
just
time
so
I watched
difficult.
it, I was like, "There's something wrong with this movie." There's a bunch of boys in their underwear and they're measuring their weenies on the side of the road. There's something wrong with this director.
Yeah, I don't like it because I've auditioned a couple of times for things where I had to measure my penis, but a lot of the times, right? Because it's kind of crazy. I got paid for it, which is really weird to be in this little room. But
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
of course,
Creepers gave me the Jeepers Creepers because I was like, "There's something not right about this."
I smell a pedophile.
Oh, God damn it! Yeah. I don't even. Oh, good lord.
So I don't know if that's a franchise.
But no, when it comes to iconic characters, why is it so difficult to make a new one?
Because you can't overthink it. It has to come. Yeah. I think it has to flop out of your mouth, and then it becomes iconic afterwards.
I think you've got to have a serious, like, extreme love for it too. That's why Shin Godzilla is like and I'll probably get killed for this, but to me, Shin Godzilla is the second best Godzilla movie after the first one.
I love. Upon rewatching it, we watched it in our backyard. I love Shin Godzilla because number one, it's the maker from Neon Evangelion. It's the Evangelion group, right?
Which is a super important artist.
So intense, and the way that they did it was so like it's got humor. It's interesting. You actually feel stakes. You're kind of scared. And the effects are just awesome. I love that fucking movie.
And the idea behind Godzilla, he's definitely fucking terrifying again. Godzilla should be terrifying. And I love movies like GMK, which was my second favorite Godzilla movie until they did Shin Godzilla. But I think he made it really cerebral, yet managed to make it fun at the same time, and was able to inject his weird politics where nerds matter and people should listen to the little guys. Sometimes,
Yeah, I'm done doing that now, though.
Save the world.
He's done. He doesn't want to listen to nerds anymore.
No, I'm over it. Nerds are bullies now.
Yeah.
At least bullies played sports and gave the school money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now the nerds are going out and killing people.
Exactly. They're all Elliot Rogers now, and I can't feel sympathy for them. Shane, what director, if you had a dream director other than Mr. Rob Zombie, who would you like to work with?
Well, it's Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He's the one guy, and I love his commentary. Like, people that don't get Pacific Rim, I tell them watch the movie with commentary and then tell me you don't get Pacific Rim.
How could you like Pacific Rim? It was so good.
Yeah, it's a robot fighting movie.
Okay, every cool scene in the fight scenes with Godzilla versus Kong were straight up stolen out of Pacific Rim.
They stole so much shit. Between Pacific Rim and Evangelion, they stole so much shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he stole so much shit from Evangelion and from
reference points. Reference points.
He knows his stuff. Guillermo del Toro knows his stuff. So when I watch his movies with commentary, I'm like, this is a guy that I could stay up with all night, deep diving into like why Lon Chaney Sr. is the greatest actor who ever lived, and like why The Creature from the Black Lagoon deserves love. Like all these things. Like, I mean, he speaks to me more than any director. Tim Burton was a guy that used to, but I think he's kind of lost it.
Why do you think
Peter Jackson was one of us too? until he made
King Kong,
which is my most hated movie of all time.
Yeah, that was so rough. That one with Jack
when
Black
they're ice skating and she looks like she's about to suck his huge 10-story penis.
Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah, he missed the whole point. And I think that what happened with him, and this has happened to a lot of artists, they get so involved with the technology and they've lost the soul of what a story is about and everything.
Do you think it's possible the studio ruined it though? I mean, is it possible that Peter Jackson was like,
give you
"Are you
this
serious? You
money."
want me to do this?"
I realized Peter Jackson was out of his mind when I saw Return of the King, and I was like, "Okay, this is real." Because I thought the first two were really good, and then Return of the King, I was like, "This guy's done. He's never going to make anything good again." He will do stuff good. He will like use his technology to tell stories like. I'm stoked for his Beatles documentary that's coming out.
I have friends that are working on. I have friends that are working on the Hobbit show right now, and they are saying that, like, you know, they do a lot. The one thing about Peter Jackson is that he does a lot of practical. You just get these massive budgets. Right. You get these massive budgets, and what do we know, right? You can't leave money on the table in any way, shape, or form. So if you are getting $100 million budget, $150 million budget, they want you to spend every cent of that money and more. Like they want, that's what they do. So they look at this, they have a slush fund. They're like, well, we'll put 75 of it into the visual arts because that fucking gets, because it's a what? It's the special effects if they're doing digital. It's like 150 coders that are doing that all day and artists and shit, but it's still just within all the computer. But you do lose touch.
Do you think that's what happened with Tim? The one thing with Tim Burton, I say his name like I know him, but one thing with Tim Burton is I wish he would reshuffle the cast. There is something with working with the same people over and over and over again to the point where it's like, oh no, like I feel like maybe some of the aliveness, is that a word? I guess so. I feel like some of that goes away.
Here's the thing too, when you become a blockbuster filmmaker, your movies are made by committee. Even a small film like Halloween 2, all of a sudden it's taken out of Rob's hands and now Harvey Weinstein is calling the shots about how this movie.
I'm so pissed to hear that he had any fucking say in that movie.
Oh, it was brutal. So now a guy like Tim Burton, okay, and here's an example. Dumbo is one of my favorite movies of all time. I still watch it. I weep. I mean, Henry knows how much I love Disney. We've gone to Disney together.
Yes.
And he's seen me like weeping in lines.
I've watched you weep at Dumbo. Like I've seen it happen where it's like you guys, I remember like late night, like doing when Madeline would be done with the Disney sing-alongs in the other room. And then you put the Disney movies on and it does sort of feel like you're captured by a psychopath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
scary.
are like watching Dumbo, you are crying and just saying stuff like nobody gets it.
Yeah.
But we're hammered. So it's you can explain it. That way, you know.
So you go and you watch Tim Burton's Dumbo, and immediately I'm like, holy shit, he's making The Elephant Man. And this is a story about a guy who's coming back from the war, who's missing his arm. He has this weird trunk that gets in the way, which is his sleeve that's empty now. Him and Dumbo are going to overcome their handicaps together. There's the fucking story, right? There's your fucking movie. There's Dumbo. It's amazing. No. Because now it's a Disney movie and they have to have kids fly Dumbo because kids fly Dumbo at Disney World.
Yeah.
So now they've got this story, this subplot about these kids, and it just the simplicity of what the heart of this story is. And he saw that story all the way through till its end. When you see the end of Dumbo, they have achieved their goals and overcome their handicap together and they are stars. There's your story. But because of all the different what do they call them? Like there's so many different levels of
bureaucracy
or marketing, especially when Disney, you have to hit points.
There's so many demographics that have to be covered in these things,
right?
That it becomes so convoluted that the gesture's gone. Okay,
right.
And here we go back to the thing. So it's really hard to tell a simple story when you've got a table of people with all the money people and they're telling you, well, that's no good because Coca-Cola owns this part of the movie and this has to happen. There's this many shots of this watch. Like Madeline is it's funny watching movies with Madeline. Like she hated the Avengers, which I loved. She hated it because she was like, this is a fucking watch commercial. It's a watch and a car commercial. She's like, she kept elbowing me every time there was a product placement, and
my goodness,
I left with bruises. It was like tough.
And that's why we want to thank everybody over at Gatorade for allowing us to have this refreshing conversation. And it's just been incredible. The electrolytes of this conversation have really fulfilled me down deep. So
absolutely. Thank you so much. And Allsport, the now defunct Allsport from the 1990s, the carbonated sports drink. Brilliant people.
Jerry just make you fart, and while you're going,
yes.
But Guillermo del Toro, I do want to eventually. I can't wait. I want to go see Nightmare Alley with you because Nightmare Alley was one of those books that you gave me with the Satanic Bible, and those are like my first introductions to all of this type of thought. Like when you gave me the Satanic Witch, all this kind of thing, like it really is interesting to see it kind of come to play. And I wonder if they will, when Nightmare Alley comes out, if they will do any sort of nod to how important that story is to Satanism. Yeah, and how layered it is. And Guillermo del Toro is the guy to do it. And the thing that's given me a lot of hope, not just because Guillermo del Toro is yet to make a bad movie. He's produced some bad movies, but his projects have always been like amazing. And he has been studying the tarot so hard for so long that I really think that, when you read Nightmare Alley, each chapter is a tarot card, and it's all. Oh no, I have a workbook. Cool. The last time I read it, I worked it out with the tarot cards. Like I was sitting there, like looking at the symbolism, because we might do at some point. We will do our deep dive in talking about deep into Satanism for last podcast on the left. But that book is just, upon rereading, I was like, there's so many fucking lessons in this damn book. Yeah, and there's all this other stuff too, that for a guy like me that loves illusion and loves magic and stage magic and all the spook show stuff, he puts so much into that book of how this stuff is done. He gives you the trade secrets away without giving the trade secret away. You have to search. Like that's how I can read Nightmare Alley every other year or so and get something new out of it every time, because it's so multi-layered. And I think that Del Toro is going to do a great job with making it that rich. I hope so. Absolutely. I was kind of sad when DiCaprio dropped out, because now it's Bradley Cooper. Yeah. Because I was like, Yeah. That's your close friend, Leo. If only he'd answered that one email I sent him. That one email you sent him. Shane Morton, thank you so much for being on the show, man. This was awesome. I guess my final little thing is, and again, you've sort of answered it already, but for the youngsters out there listening, what's the first thing they should do if they want to get into special effects? Like, because it's just so difficult to what's a thread that they could begin to pull on? Well, this is the thing. You've got to start at the beginning. You've got to learn how to watch Lon Chaney Sr., who is the guy that started all this stuff. He's Lon Chaney Sr. started the heavy makeup effects work, which was basically character design, character performance, taken to a different level through the use of, extreme makeup, right? Yeah. And then you got to study Willis O'Brien and Harryhausen, who were the guys that created the stop motion stuff. You got to go to the basics, and then you've got to learn how to draw. You got to draw, you got to sculpt, you got to do the work. Okay. Dude, check out the 10,000 hour rule, right? Yes. To become the master, you've got, 10 years of work. Shane, absolutely. I got one for you too. Check out The Wolf House. On iTunes, The Wolf House. It's a stop motion animation. Like, it's basically the new, Jan Schwenkmeyer. Oh, Jan Schwenkmeyer. Yeah, and I was watching it last night, and it's just one of those, it's an uninterrupted hour and 15 minutes of a horrible nightmare. Oh, that sounds great. You'll like it. Have you seen Howl in the Fog? No. Okay, so that's a Japanese kind of tokusatsu thing with puppets. It's very like Godzilla, but in samurai era stuff. And it's on the list. It's a mood piece. Put it on the list. They're still making good stuff. Absolutely. Oh yeah, buddy. Good stuff coming out, more than ever, actually. So I don't want to end on a bad note and go, old guys are bitching about this, because stuff like Psycho Gorman, Howl in the Fog, all this stuff. There's more of us that are able to make it now because it's easier to make movies. Indie horror film is at its peak right now. Yes. There is so much good shit. I just watched one last night that it was called I Have to Tell Your Heart to Beat. and it's one of the most interesting retelling of a vampire story that I've ever seen in a long time. It is. I'll text you the actual title of it. It is wild. But yeah, they're still making good shit, man.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
all over the world.
Thank you all so much for listening to this special episode with Shane Morton. And you can find Shane, I don't know if you want to plug Twitter. He's Professor Morte. It's MORTE. PROFMORTE.
Silver Scream, right? Just look up Silver Scream.
Silver Scream Effects Lab. And we're going to start posting pictures of all the new work and everything. And as soon as I'm able to legally post pictures of all this stuff that we've been doing, like some of the biggest projects we've ever done with the biggest budgets. And,
awesome.
You've been working your ass off, man. I can't wait for people to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's exciting.
What's your Instagram so people can see that then?
That's Silver Scream Effects Lab.
Silver Scream Effects Lab. So follow them on Instagram and stay up to date with everything Shane is doing. Thank you so much for being on the show,
man. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Hail, sweet Satan, man.
And thank you all so much for listening. We hope you're doing well out there.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the support. We got the live dates. You can go find those on our website.
LastPodcastOnTheLeft.com.
Yep, Last Podcast merch for our merch.
Yes.
We got some weed coming up that you guys all know about. And we want to thank everyone who came out to our meet and greet in Santa Ana. It was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. It better have been.
It was. Yes. All right, everyone. Hail yourselves.
Hail Satan.
Congratulations.
Hail Satan.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, bro.
Hell yeah. Hail Shane.
Hail Shane, bro.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors. You can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.